My friend got me this toy as a gift, but I didn't keep the box, and now neither of us can remember what it is. I recall it came from a mystery box with a whole series of different ones you could collect. I also have a vague memory that the box had the word dragon on it. Does anyone know what it is? This is a collectible figure from the Naifu Dragon series. It's a type of product known as a blind box, or mystery box toy. The concept involves selling a sealed package containing one random figure from a larger set, so the buyer doesn't know which specific one they have until it's opened. This marketing model encourages collecting and trading to complete a set. The figure you have is just one of several stylized dragons from that particular series. I noticed a black, dust-like buildup on the case of our air purifier. At first I didn't think much of it, but when I went to clean it, I saw the buildup was especially dense where the power cable connected. More concerning, it had formed a dark line on the power cable and along the wall behind it. Does anyone know what it is? This is a common effect caused by static electricity attracting carbon-rich dust, or soot. Sources for this soot in a home include candles, gas cooking appliances, or even fireplaces. The plastic housing of the purifier and the insulation on the power cable build up a static charge. This electric field acts like a magnet for the fine airborne carbon particles. An air purifier makes this effect more visible because its entire function is to move large volumes of air, constantly bringing more of this soot into contact with the charged surfaces, where it accumulates. This happened overnight in my backyard in northern Nevada. Everyone in my house is at a total loss for what could have caused these holes in our lawn. I was out there last night and it wasn't there. Does anyone know what it is? This is the work of a skunk, or a similar animal, looking for grubs. During certain times of the year, the larvae of beetles live just below the surface of the grass, providing a rich food source. Skunks use their excellent sense of smell to locate the grubs in their powerful front claws to dig small, distinct, cone-shaped holes to extract them. This activity almost always happens at night, which is why a lawn can appear perfectly fine one evening and be dotted with these holes the next morning. My husband and I found this at the park. We thought it would be funny to put it on his tow bar and assumed that's what it was originally for since it fits so well. Does anyone know what it is? It's a tow ball cover. It is made from a hard, semi-pliable rubber designed to be pushed directly over the metal ball on a vehicle's hitch. The cover serves two functions. It protects the greased ball from accumulating dirt and rust when a trailer isn't attached, and it also prevents that same grease from getting on people's clothes if they brush past the hitch. We found this little book hidden inside the wall of a house we're renovating. It has a small cross on the cover and opens up to reveal a handwritten note, but the script is too difficult to read. It feels very personal and old. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a pocket altar, or sometimes a personal traveling shrine. Popular in the 19th and early 20th centuries, these were created for personal devotion when a church was not accessible. They typically contained a small crucifix, religious icons, and a space for a personal prayer, which is likely what the handwritten note is. Finding one inside a wall is also significant. It was a common practice to seal a religious item into the structure of a home as a form of permanent blessing and protection for the family living there. I purchased this at a yard sale in Portland, Oregon, about 10 years ago. The folks I bought it from didn't know what it was. It's constructed from stained wood, metal, and what seems to be stitched wool fabric. The entire piece measures about 20 inches high, 12 inches wide, and 4 inches deep. We've never been sure if it's a piece of art or if it serves a specific function. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a bespoke activity toy for a toddler. This is a standing play center designed for young children. The mechanism is straightforward. A child stands at the toy and manipulates the various wooden and fabric objects, guiding them along the fixed metal tracks. This type of play is not just for amusement. It's designed to help develop crucial fine motor skills and hand-eye coordination. While this specific one appears to be custom-made, the design is a very common and popular format for educational toys for toddlers. I live in a 150-year-old carriage house located behind a funeral home. After finally getting a ladder tall enough, I went up to the attic and found about 6 of these. They look like they're made of glass and I suspected they might be insulators, but I couldn't get close enough to be sure. Does anyone know what it is? What you found are indeed antique glass insulators. These were critical components for the telegraph, telephone, and early electrical grids. Their function was to secure a wire to a wooden pole while preventing the electrical current from leaking into the wood itself, especially during rain. The design was standardized with the introduction of a threaded pinhole, patented by inventor Louis A. Cauvet in 1865, which allowed the insulator to be screwed firmly onto a peg. Companies like the Hemingway Glass Company, founded in 1848, became major producers. Today, most have been replaced by more durable ceramic or polymer insulators, making these glass versions popular items for collectors. I found this set of odd tools in my dad's office, and my mom has no idea what they are. The screwdriver-shaped items all have a small, pronged fork on one end. There's also a larger metal tool that was in a black case that doesn't seem to fit. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a watch repair toolkit. These are commonly sold online for hobbyists who want to change batteries or replace watch bands at home. The fork tools are called spring bar tools. Their specific function is to compress the tiny, spring-loaded pins that hold a watch strap to the watch's main body, or case. The larger metal tool is a watch case press. After a battery is replaced, it provides steady, even pressure to snap the back of the watch case shut without cracking the crystal or damaging the water-resistant seal. I found this heavy metal cap in a park on Long Island, New York, near a bench. It looks like a cap for a tractor's vertical exhaust pipe, but it feels too heavy and seems too small. A good part of it looks like it was cut clean off, and it has embossed printing that reads Royal O, Buck, and 25210. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a protective cap for an in-ground irrigation system, specifically for a quick coupler valve used on athletic fields. The embossed text refers to the manufacturer, Buckner, a company founded in 1912 that pioneered large-scale turf irrigation. These systems keep sprinkler heads below the surface to avoid interfering with play or lawnmowers. This heavy, durable cap is screwed into the valve housing when the sprinkler head is removed for maintenance or during the off-season. Its purpose is to protect the internal components from dirt, debris, and damage from equipment or foot traffic. I was given this coin as a gift, found in a pile at a garage sale. Everything I've read about old coins suggests they're usually just replicas, but I'm curious about the portrait. Does anyone know who is depicted on this coin? This coin depicts Faustina the Elder, a Roman empress, and the wife of Emperor Antoninus Pius, who reigned from the year 138 to 161. After she died in the year 140, her husband had her deified and began minting a massive number of coins with her portrait to be circulated across the empire. Because so many were produced, her coins are actually one of the more common types of authentic Roman currency found today. While many high-quality replicas exist, there is a reasonable chance this could be a genuine artifact. I have this small metal item. It has two magnets that clasp together, and they are surprisingly strong for what I thought might be a piece of jewelry. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a magnetic pants length adjuster. It's a modern solution for temporarily hemming trousers without sewing. The device works by using two powerful neodymium magnets. You fold the pant leg up to the desired length on the inside, then place one magnetic piece on the outside of the fabric and the other directly behind it on the folded cuff. The strong magnetic force clamps the fabric firmly in place, creating a temporary hem that is much cleaner and more secure than using safety pins. My mom got this a while back, and she's been holding on to it but doesn't even know what it's for. It has a dark wood handle with the word Brookstone on it and 3 metal prongs. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a grill grate lifter. It's a tool specifically designed to lift hot, heavy, and often greasy cooking grates from a barbecue. The 3 prongs hook securely under the bars of the grate, providing a stable grip. This allows a person to safely add more charcoal or wood chips without using clumsy tongs or risking a burn. The wooden handle helps to insulate the user's hand from the heat of the grill. My sister-in-law found this and we're trying to figure out what it is. It's a very small tool with a thin, twisted wire handle and a short spiral brush head with stiff bristles. It looks like a miniature pipe cleaner, far too small for cleaning a bottle or a typical drinking straw. Does anyone know what it is? This is a cleaning brush specifically for a nicotine vaping product, or e-cigarette. The small diameter and stiff bristles are designed to fit into the narrow components of a vaporizer, such as the tank, the coil assembly, and the mouthpiece. Over time, a sticky residue from the vaporized liquid can build up inside these parts, which can negatively affect the flavor and performance of the device. This brush allows the user to scrub that residue away, which is a key part of regular maintenance. This room is in a house with 12 bedrooms, multiple kitchens, and even a sauna. But its purpose is baffling. Half the floor is raised, and there are strange gray squares on the wall. A box with holes hangs from the ceiling, and it looks like a giant drawer can be pulled out from under the raised floor. Does anyone know what it is? This is a custom-built home theater, though it is considered by many to be very poorly designed. The box on the ceiling is a housing for a video projector. The gray squares mounted in the walls are flush-mount surround sound speakers. The raised floor is intended to create tiered seating, so people in the back row have an unobstructed view of the screen. The large compartment underneath is likely a pull-out platform for a mattress, creating a lounge-style viewing area. Despite the expensive components, the room's hard surfaces and asymmetrical shape would likely create poor acoustics with significant echo, undermining the entire purpose of the installation. I found this little USB dongle under a lamp in a hotel room. It's magnetic and appears to have two metal contacts, as if something should attach to it. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a proprietary charger for a Juul e-cigarette. Juul Labs first introduced this specific magnetic design in 2015. The USB end plugs into a power source, and the main vape device snaps onto the two contacts, held in place by magnets, to recharge its internal lithium-ion battery. Because they are small and separate from the device they charge, they are very commonly misplaced or left behind. I found this while sorting through a barn full of junk from a house in Tennessee. It's made of a heavy carved stone and looks like some kind of small column or stand. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a decorative pedestal designed to be a pillar candle holder. These stands are made to display large, thick candles that are too wide for a traditional candlestick. The stone construction is both functional and aesthetic. It provides a heavy, stable base that won't easily tip over, and its non-flammable properties make it a safe platform for an open flame. This style of holder has been a common piece of home decor for decades, and finding one in a barn simply means it was likely stored away with other old household items. I was cleaning my room and found this USB device, but I don't remember what it goes to. It has specific ratings printed on the casing. The input is 5.0 volts at 0.5 to 1.5 amps, and the output is 3.7 volts at 6,000 milliamps. Google image search wasn't helpful. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a dedicated USB charger for a single-cell lithium battery. Its function is to convert power. It takes the standard 5 volts from a USB port and steps it down to 3.7 volts, which is the correct charging voltage for a common lithium-ion or lithium polymer cell. The output of 6,000 milliamps, or 6 amps, is quite high for a charger like this. This indicates it was designed for a large-capacity battery used in a power-hungry device, such as a high-performance remote-controlled car or a sizable drone that requires rapid charging. I was soaking some lentils for dinner when I noticed these small, dark specks floating to the surface. There are quite a few of them, and they don't look like part of the lentils. Does anyone know what they are? This is a common pantry pest known as a weevil. An infestation can begin at any point in the supply chain, from the farm to the packaging plant. A female weevil uses her long snout to chew a hole into a grain or lentil, deposits a single egg, and then seals the opening. The larva hatches inside and consumes the grain from within. When you add water, the damaged, lighter lentils float to the top along with any adult weevils. While it looks unappetizing, the insects can be skimmed off and the remaining lentils can be thoroughly washed before cooking. This object, which looks like an oversized safety pin, was found with a Singer sewing machine dating back to the 1870s. It has small measurements marked along its side, and the owner guessed it might be some kind of seam guide, but couldn't figure out where it would attach to the machine. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a sewing machine tuck marker, sometimes called a tucker or tucking guide. It's a specialized accessory designed for creating perfectly parallel decorative tucks or pleats in fabric. The device clamps onto the machine's presser footbar. As you sew the first tuck, a small blade on the marker creases the fabric at a preset distance, marking the precise line for the next tuck. The numbered guide allows the user to set the exact spacing from a few millimeters to over an inch apart. This tool was particularly popular in the late 19th and early 20th centuries for producing the intricate pin tucks common on Victorian and Edwardian garments. I found this small object in the snow outside my house. It's about half an inch long, with a white tip and a gold base. The gold part has threads like it's meant to screw onto something larger. Does anyone know what it is? What you found are replacement tips for a digital stylus pen. They are used with tablets and smartphones for drawing, writing, and navigation. The white tip is typically made from a durable polymer that glides smoothly across a glass screen without causing scratches, while still providing enough friction for precise control. The gold-threaded base allows the tip to be screwed securely into the main body of the stylus. Over time, friction from the screen surface wears these tips down, which can affect the pen's accuracy. Artists and heavy users replace them regularly to maintain a consistent feel and precision in their work. I was cleaning under my dryer when I found this small plastic object. It's about an inch long and feels very light. It seems to be made of two pieces. If you push on the top section, the bottom part with a small metal ring pops right off. It snaps back together securely, but I have no idea what it's from. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a quick-release connector, often used for keychains, lanyards, or small tools. The mechanism is simple but effective. Inside the housing, a spring-loaded ball detent system holds the two halves together under tension. When you push the release button, it retracts the ball bearings, allowing the male end to separate instantly. This allows a user to quickly detach a specific item, like a car key or a building access card, from their main set without needing to wrestle with a standard split ring. I was sorting through a mason jar full of spare change from my dad's ex, and I found this coin. It doesn't have any monetary value listed, but it does have a stamped image of a car surrounded by bubbles. Does anyone know what it is? It's a car wash token. These are commonly used in self-service car wash bays as an alternative to quarters or credit cards. The simple design of a car in bubbles is a universal symbol that clearly communicates its purpose without needing text. Owners of car washes purchase these in bulk and then sell them to customers, often providing a small discount for buying several at once. Because they have no cash value outside of the specific car wash that issued them, they are frequently mixed in with regular coins and forgotten in spare change jars. I was cleaning up storm debris in western North Carolina after Hurricane Helene, and I found this polished glass triangle. It's perfectly clear with very sharp, precise edges. It doesn't seem to have any markings on it. Does anyone know what it is? Lush. This object is known as a poroprism, a key component from the inside of a pair of binoculars. Its purpose is to correct the image. The main lens in a telescope or binocular naturally produces an image that is both upside down and reversed left to right. This prism, named after its Italian inventor Ignazio Porro, who patented the system in 1854, fixes that problem. Light enters the prism and uses a principle called total internal reflection to bounce off the internal surfaces multiple times before exiting. In a standard pair of binoculars, two of these prisms are set at a 90-degree angle to each other to flip the image both vertically and horizontally, presenting a correctly oriented view to your eye. The hurricane likely broke a pair of binoculars apart, leaving this single, durable glass component behind. I found this in an Airbnb kitchen drawer. As you can see from the other spoons provided for scale, it has a very unusual crooked handle. There was only one of these in the entire drawer, and I couldn't find anything like it online. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a hanging sugar spoon. The unique bend in the handle is a functional design feature, not a defect. It allows the spoon to rest on the rim of a sugar bowl or a coffee mug. This prevents the spoon from sliding down into the contents, keeping the handle clean and easily accessible. Because it's a specialty utensil, it's common to find only one in a kitchen set, rather than a full collection. I was watching my partner take our dog out on our security camera when I noticed this red light fly across the sky. It was dusk and snowing, and the object moved incredibly fast. It seems to be very far away, but I can't be sure. Does anyone know what it is? What you captured is a common camera artifact caused by a small insect. This is often referred to as the rods phenomenon. At night, security cameras use a slow shutter speed to let in more light. When an insect flies very close to the lens, its wings beat faster than the shutter can capture a clean image. This creates an elongated motion blur, which makes the insect appear as a glowing streak or rod. The red color is a reflection from the camera's own infrared illuminators, which are used for night vision. Because the camera's focus is set on the distant background, the nearby insect appears out of focus and transparent, making it seem like it's an object far away in the sky. I recently moved into a new apartment and I'm trying to connect my Wi-Fi router, but the building has no Ethernet ports. Instead, I found this wall plate. My dad has no idea what it is either, and I need internet for school and work. Does anyone know what it is? This is an older style combination wall plate for television and radio signals. The top threaded F-type connector is a coaxial port, primarily used to connect a television to a cable service. The bottom 2-pin socket is an input for a broadcast radio antenna. In older apartment buildings, a single large antenna on the roof would feed a clean FM radio signal to all units through these ports, eliminating the need for individual antennas on stereos. This wiring predates modern home internet standards. My mom's best friend gifted this to her. It's a small, slightly asymmetrical ceramic bowl with a unique glaze, but no markings on the bottom. We aren't sure if it has a specific intended use. Does anyone know what it is? This is a handmade pinch pot. It's a type of pottery created using one of the oldest and most direct forming methods. The process involves starting with a ball of clay, which the potter then shapes by repeatedly pinching it between their thumb and fingers while rotating it. This technique is what gives the pot its characteristic organic and slightly uneven form. Because they are not mass-produced, their function is versatile. They're commonly used as decorative ring holders, salt cellars, or small trinket bowls. I was drinking from my water bottle when this purple object came out. It was very squishy and jelly-like to the touch, and it broke apart easily when I handled it. Does anyone know what it is? This object is the remains of a medicine capsule that was left in the water. Most capsules are made from gelatin or a vegetable-based polymer designed to dissolve inside the digestive system. When left to soak in a water bottle for several hours, the capsule's shell absorbs a large amount of water. It swells up, becoming a soft, gelatinous mass instead of dissolving completely. The purple color is simply the dye used on the capsule. This waterlogged structure is extremely fragile, which is why it fell apart upon being touched. I found these yellow fruits on the ground at my local park. None were growing on any nearby trees. Most were hard and unaltered by stepping on them, but I found one soft one and the inside was fibrous like celery. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is an Osage orange, also known as a hedge apple. It's the fruit of the Maclura pomifera tree. This fruit is considered an evolutionary anachronism. It's believed to have co-evolved with extinct megafauna like giant ground sloths, which were large enough to eat the fruit and disperse the seeds. Before the invention of barbed wire in the 1870s, settlers planted these trees close together in hedgerows to create dense, thorny, and impenetrable natural fences to contain livestock. The wood itself is extremely strong and rot-resistant, and was prized by Native Americans for making powerful bows. I saw this feature on a Reddit post called Creaction. I tried to tap it to see what would happen, but it failed. I haven't seen it anywhere else. Does anyone know what it is? This is a feature from a Reddit app called Creactabot. It's built using Reddit's own developer platform, known as Devit. The app is designed to add interactive, personalized GIF reactions to a specific subreddit. When a user clicks the button and selects an emoji, the app takes their personal Reddit avatar, known as a snoovatar, and merges it with a pre-made animation. This process generates a custom GIF, which the app then automatically posts as a reply, creating a unique reaction that features the user's own avatar. I received a bag of donated items for my newborn. It contained standard things like bibs and washcloths, but this object was also inside, and I have no idea what it's for. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as an umbilical sash or binder. For many years, these were wrapped around a newborn's abdomen to protect the umbilical cord stump. The goal was to hold the cord flat and prevent it from catching on clothing before it naturally detached. Medical guidance has since evolved, and the modern recommendation is to simply keep the area clean, dry, and exposed to air to help it heal faster. This change in practice is why these sashes are now uncommon. I found this in a storage cupboard in a tenement flat. The bottom part clearly looks like a bottle opener, but the top is a mystery. It looks like it's designed to take a blade or something similar. Does anyone know what it is? It's a combination bottle opener and blade sharpener. This was a common household gadget, particularly from the 1950s through the 1970s. The bottom functions exactly as you'd expect, prying the caps off of glass bottles. The slot at the top contains two small angled discs made of hardened steel or tungsten carbide. To sharpen a knife, you would pull the blade through the V-shaped groove a few times. These were often inexpensive and sometimes given away as promotional items by companies, which explains their simple and functional design. I got this book of extreme connect-the-dots puzzles. After carefully connecting all the points for this picture, I have no idea what it is supposed to be. It just looks like a series of abstract lines and shapes. Does anyone know what it is? Sant mor. What you're looking at is a large egg carton with eggs still inside. The difficulty in identifying it comes from the unusual perspective and the complexity of the dot pattern. The view is from a high angle, looking directly down into the open carton. The distinct cone shapes rising from the center are the dividers that keep the eggs from touching, and the circular patterns are the tops of the eggs themselves. These types of puzzles often choose common objects from strange angles to increase the challenge. I found this on the side of my house in the Pacific Northwest. It looks like a large ribbed jelly bean attached to the siding. My first thoughts were that it could be a chrysalis, a wasp nest, or some kind of fungus. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as an ootheca, which is the egg case of a praying mantis. A female mantis creates this by secreting a foam-like protein substance and whipping it full of air bubbles. This foam then hardens into a tough, styrofoam-like structure that protects the eggs inside. The case insulates the eggs from cold weather and conceals them from predators. Depending on the species, a single ootheca can contain anywhere from 50 to 200 eggs, which will hatch into tiny mantis nymphs in the spring. I was raking leaves in my front yard and found this. It's about 6 inches long and has been cut cleanly on both ends. The texture is definitely bone, but it's hollowed out almost like a pipe. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a very common type of dog treat bone, often sold in pet stores. These are typically beef femur bones that have been sterilized and cut into sections by industrial saws, which explains the perfectly flat ends. During processing, the natural marrow is cleaned out from the center, and the resulting cavity is filled with a flavored paste, commonly made from peanut butter or cheese to make it more appealing for dogs. After a dog licks the filling out, you're left with the hollowed-out bone you discovered. I found this utensil in a kitchen drawer. It looks like a small grater, but we know it isn't for cheese because it does a terrible job. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a vintage combination zester and nutmeg grinder. These dual-purpose tools were common in kitchens from the 1950s through the 1970s. One side, with its small, sharp holes, is designed to remove the outer peel, or zest, from citrus fruits. The other, rougher surface is made for grinding hard spices like nutmeg directly into a dish. While perfect for its intended use, the design is not effective on softer items like cheese. This style became less common after the introduction of sharper, more versatile microplane graters in the 1990s. I was cleaning up in my unfinished attic and found several of these plastic white balls. Each one has a little pin on the side. The attic recently had mold remediation and a vapor barrier installed, and there was a mouse problem at one point. At first, I thought it was part of a toy, but there were too many of them. Does anyone know what it is? It's a float ball from a float switch, a common component in sump pumps and HVAC systems. The pin on the side is where it snaps onto a lever arm. This assembly is designed to detect rising water levels in a drain pan or basin. As water rises, the buoyant plastic ball floats up, lifting the lever and activating a switch. This either turns on a pump to drain the water or shuts down the air conditioning unit to prevent a flood. It's common to find these left behind after HVACs or remediation work, as they are often replaced or can break off during servicing. I saw this green pole while in the Denver Tech Center in Colorado. It's tall and slender, painted a dark green, but doesn't appear to be a lamppost or a traffic signal. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a 5G small cell tower. Unlike the large, lattice-style cell towers you might see on a highway, 5G technology can utilize higher frequencies which don't travel as far. This requires a denser network of smaller antennas, especially in urban environments. To reduce visual clutter, telecommunication companies create these disguised monopoles. The pole is painted to blend in with the local environment, and all the sensitive broadcasting equipment is housed inside the structure, making for a much cleaner look than a traditional tower. I was going through my old lacrosse equipment and found this padded piece. It has straps, but I can't figure out where it's supposed to attach. It doesn't seem to fit my elbow or knee properly. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a lacrosse wrist guard, often called a cuff or a slash guard. It's a separate piece of protective equipment designed to bridge the gap between a player's glove and their elbow pad. Its primary function is to protect the forearm from defensive stick checks, known as slashes. When an offensive player cradles the stick, this part of the arm is exposed and becomes a primary target for defenders trying to dislodge the ball. The padding absorbs the impact, preventing painful bruises and potential fractures. I received this as a Christmas gift, but it came without a name or instructions. It's a bundle of thin, colorful sticks that look a bit like chopsticks or even a porcupine when they are all bundled together. It seems like it might be a game. Does anyone know what it is? This is the classic game of skill known as pickup sticks, also called Mikado in many parts of the world. The gameplay centers on manual dexterity. The entire bundle of sticks is dropped onto a table, creating a random pile. Each player then takes a turn removing one stick at a time, without moving any others in the pile. Different colored sticks correspond to different point values. The modern version of the game was first sold in the United States around 1936, eventually becoming a commercial success under toy manufacturer Milton Bradley. I saw this game in a YouTube video and I can't seem to identify it. I've tried reverse image searches which suggested Singluo ball or Bouding balls, but neither of those led to this specific activity. The source channel even listed the video under table tennis, which is obviously incorrect. Does anyone know what it is? This object is part of a sport known as Xingluoqiu, or Xs Yingluoqiu, which translates to starball. It's a modern Chinese sport that blends elements of racket sports with the fluid movements of Tai Chi. The objective is not to hit the ball back and forth, but to use the specialized paddle to keep the ball continuously spinning and in motion. The paddles have a tacky rubber surface that provides high friction, allowing players to perform complex rotational tricks and elaborate routines. It is considered both a form of low-impact exercise and a performance art. I opened a new bag of chili and salt pork rinds from the 4505 company and noticed this weird purple splotch on one of the pieces. The bag was fresh, so I don't think it's mold, but it's definitely unusual. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is completely harmless food-grade ink. At meat processing plants, government inspectors examine carcasses to ensure they are safe for consumption. After a side of pork passes inspection, it is stamped with this distinctive purple or blue ink. When the skin from that specific stamped area is processed and fried to make pork rinds, the ink remains. While the heat from frying can change its color and shape, the mark itself is perfectly safe to eat. You've likely seen these clear plastic sliders on store shelves, often in front of small, expensive items. They don't actually lock, and the shelves aren't slanted, so they aren't stopping products from falling. They seem like a confusing and ineffective security measure. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a low-tech theft deterrent. Its effectiveness is not based on locking the product, but on defeating the two things a shoplifter relies on: speed and silence. To access the product, a person must deliberately slide the cover, which takes several seconds. This action produces a loud, distinct scraping or clicking sound designed to draw the attention of store employees and other shoppers. It's a simple psychological barrier. The added time and unavoidable noise make it much more difficult to discreetly sweep multiple items off the shelf at once. I was doing a walkthrough of a potential townhome rental and saw a couple of these on the wall. One was positioned down low next to the cable and Ethernet jacks, and an identical one was set much higher up beside an outlet. I didn't know what to even search for to identify it. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a cable pass-through wall plate. It is a modern solution designed to hide the wires for a wall-mounted television. The system works by providing a clean entry and exit point into the empty space behind the drywall. The lower plate is used to feed cables, like HDMI or power cords from a game console or cable box, into the wall. Those cables are then run upwards and pulled out through the top plate, which is positioned directly behind the TV. This allows for a professional-looking entertainment setup with no visible wires running up the wall. I bought a new OXO coffee grinder, and this small accessory was included in the box. I've checked the instruction booklet, and there's no mention of it anywhere. It doesn't seem to attach to the machine itself. Does anyone know what it is? It's a small spray bottle designed to combat static electricity. When coffee beans are ground, the friction generates a static charge, causing fine coffee particles and chaff to cling to the grinder's container, creating a mess. This bottle is used to apply a very fine mist of water to the whole beans right before you grind them. This technique, known as the Ross droplet technique or RDT, neutralizes the static charge, resulting in a cleaner, more efficient grind with significantly less waste. I keep finding this slimy, orange residue in my bathtub, even right after I've cleaned it. It mostly gathers around the drain and in the corners where water sits. At first, I thought it was rust from the pipes, but I'm worried it might be some kind of dangerous mold. Does anyone know what it is? This is not rust or mold. What you're seeing is a common, waterborne bacterium known as Serratia marcescens. This microbe thrives in moist environments and feeds on the fatty deposits left behind by soap and body oils. As the bacteria colonizes, it produces a characteristic reddish-orange pigment, which creates the slimy stain you see. It's the same organism responsible for the pink or orange film that often appears on shower curtains. While generally harmless to healthy individuals, it's best to clean it away regularly to prevent a large buildup. I found this growing out the bottom of my pothos plant pot, which has been sitting on a windowsill. It must be new, since I didn't see it the other day when watering. Is this going to harm the plant? This will not harm your plant. In fact, it's often a sign of very healthy soil. The mushrooms you see are just the fruiting bodies of a larger fungal network called mycelium living in the potting mix. This network is beneficial. It actively breaks down organic material, which in turn releases nutrients that the plant's roots can easily absorb. Their appearance simply indicates that your soil is moist, rich, and biologically active, which are ideal conditions for a pothos. I saw this symbol on the side of the Belmont Sheffield Trust and Savings Bank building in Chicago. It's a bundle of rods bound together with an axe blade emerging from the top. It looks similar to a symbol used in Italy during the 1930s and 40s. Does anyone know what it is? This symbol is known as a fasces. It's an ancient Roman emblem representing magisterial power and authority. The bundled rods symbolize strength through unity, while the axe symbolizes the power over life and death. The Belmont Sheffield Bank was constructed in 1928, a time when neoclassical architecture was common for financial and government buildings. Architects used symbols like the fasces to project an image of stability, law, and civic authority. While the symbol was later co-opted by Mussolini's National Fascist Party in Italy, its use on this building predates that association and is entirely based on its classical Roman meaning. In fact, The symbol can also be seen on the walls of the U.S. House of Representatives and on the base of the Lincoln Memorial. What is this small white cylindrical object? It has a red button on one end and a metal probe on the other. When the button is pressed, a visible spark jumps across the metal tip. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a piezoelectric igniter. It's a self-contained device used to create a spark in things like gas grills, push-button lighters, and camping stoves. It operates without any batteries or external power. When you press the button, a small spring-loaded hammer inside strikes a piezoelectric crystal, typically quartz. This sharp mechanical impact generates a sudden, high-voltage electrical pulse. The electricity travels to the metal tip, creating a spark hot enough to ignite flammable gas. What is this symbol, often seen carved into stone or worked into metal jewelry? It's composed of 3 interlocking spirals that all appear to rotate from a central point. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a triskel, or a triskelion. It is one of the most ancient symbols in human history, with a famous example appearing at the Newgrange Passage tomb in Ireland, which dates to approximately 3200 BC. For the Celts, who later adopted it, the symbol's 3 arms were often interpreted to represent a cycle of 3, such as life, death, and rebirth, or the 3 domains of the earth, sea, and sky. The rotational design implies constant motion and the progression of life. When Christianity came to Ireland, the symbol was adapted to represent the Holy Trinity. We moved into our house 3 years ago, and this feature has stumped everyone. It's located right next to the stove, it can't be moved, and it's made from the same stone as the kitchen counter. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is not a standard product, but a custom-built stove-side caddy. During a kitchen remodel, it is common to have leftover material after the countertops are cut to size. The previous owners likely commissioned this piece to make practical use of the excess stone. Its function is to provide a durable, heat-resistant station next to the range for holding cooking essentials like oils, salt, pepper, and utensils, keeping them off the main counter but within immediate reach. I thrifted these shorts a couple of weeks ago and found this plastic object attached to the back pocket. It's shaped like the company's animal logo and is made of hard plastic. I thought it might be a bottle opener, but the comb part doesn't make sense. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a surfboard wax comb. This is a standard accessory included with many brands of surf shorts, also known as board shorts. Surfers apply a special wax to the top of their board to create a grippy surface for their feet. After some use, the wax can become smooth and less effective. The toothed edge you see is used to scrape across the wax, creating a cross-hatched pattern of ridges. This action roughens the surface and restores the grip, giving the surfer much better traction on the water. I'm seeing this strange discoloration appearing on my ceiling. It's on the top floor, right below the roof space, and the dark lines seem to follow the pattern of the joists. There's no attic, just a small space above. Does anyone know what it is? What you are seeing is a common phenomenon known as thermal ghosting or thermal bridging. The wooden rafters in your ceiling conduct temperature differently than the surrounding insulation. Because the wood is less insulated, the surface of the ceiling directly beneath it becomes slightly colder than the rest. These colder areas attract and collect moisture, dust, and airborne soot particles from things like candles or cooking. Over time, this buildup creates the dark, ghostly lines you see, tracing the frame of your house. It's often a sign of poor insulation or air leaks. I saw this at my dermatologist's office. It looks like some kind of small gambling machine. Finding this in a medical setting was unusual, which made me think it might have a specific purpose. Does anyone know what it is? The solution to this mystery came from another detail in the office. The original poster also mentioned that the bathroom was decorated with Biggie Smalls wallpaper. This context reveals that the object isn't a medical device. It's simply a novelty item, likely a toy slot machine or a coin bank. The dermatologist appears to have an eclectic personal style, and this object is just part of their office decor, intended as a fun conversation piece. Which of these items surprised you the most? Or maybe you have one of them in your own garage? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed learning something new today, please hit like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for watching.